The third-floor architecture studio of Northwood University was a cavern of shadows and fluorescent hums. Outside, a late September storm was colonizing the city, turning the skyline into a blurred watercolor of grays and blacks. Inside, the air smelled of balsa wood, spray adhesive, and the bitter dregs of burnt espresso. Liam was the only one left. He sat hunched over table 14, a scalpel in one hand and a strip of basswood in the other. His eyes were bloodshot behind his glasses. This model, a conceptual library, was due in 8 hours. If he messed up the cantilevered roof now, 3 weeks of work would collapse. He was so focused that he didn't hear the heavy studio door groan open. He didn't hear the rhythmic thud of boots on the linoleum. He only realized he wasn't alone when a shadow stretched across his cutting mat, long and elegant. The glue won't set properly in this humidity, Liam. You're fighting a losing battle. Liam didn't even look up. He knew that voice. It was deep, precise, and carried a hint of a smile that Liam could see even with his eyes closed. "Go away, Julian," Liam muttered, though his heart didn't get the memo. It started a frantic rhythm against his ribs. Some of us aren't naturally gifted. Some of us have to actually work for our grades. Julian stepped into the light of Liam's desk lamp. He looked infuriatingly composed, dark wool coat, hair slightly damp from the rain, and eyes that always seemed to be reading a book Liam hadn't finished writing yet. The growing tension. Julian didn't leave. Instead, he pulled a stool from the neighboring table and sat down, far too close for Liam's comfort. He placed a warm paper cup on the corner of the blueprints. "Salted caramel latte, extra shot," Julian said quietly. Liam finally dropped the scalpel. He rubbed his eyes, pushing his glasses up into his hair. "Why are you here, Julian? It's nearly midnight. The seniors finished their portfolios yesterday." "I told myself I forgot my sketchbook," Julian said, his gaze drifting from the model to Liam's tired face. "But the truth is, I saw your car in the lot. I knew you'd be here, skipping meals and forgetting to breathe." "I breathe just fine," Liam snapped, though it sounded weak. "Do you?" Julian reached out. It was a slow movement, giving Liam every chance to pull away. He didn't. Julian's fingers brushed a stray wood shaving off Liam's cheek. The contact was electric, a sharp contrast to the cold studio air. "You look like you're holding your breath for the whole world to notice you, Liam. You don't have to work this hard for me to see you." Liam looked away, his throat tight. He and Julian had been academic rivals for 3 years. They had competed for the same internships, the same awards, and the same top spots in the rankings. But beneath the competition was something else, something heavier. It was the way Julian always knew how Liam took his coffee. It was the way Liam could recognize Julian's stride in a crowded hallway. "I'm not doing this for you," Liam whispered. "I know," Julian replied, his voice dropping an octave. "That's the most frustrating part about you." The breaking point. A crack of thunder shook the windows, momentarily plunging the studio into darkness as the power flickered. In the sudden gloom, the distance between them seemed to vanish. When the lights hummed back to life, Julian hadn't moved back. He was leaning in, his shoulder pressing against Liam. "You have glue on your hands," Julian noted, his eyes fixed on Liam's mouth. "I'm a mess," Liam breathed. "You're a masterpiece," Julian countered. The cliché should have been cheesy, but the way Julian said it with a raw, desperate honesty made Liam's breath hitch. Julian reached out again, this time cupping Liam's jaw. His thumb traced the lower lip, pulling it down slightly. Liam felt a wave of heat wash over him, dazing him more than the lack of sleep ever could. He reached up, his fingers trembling as they gripped Julian's wrist, not to pull him away, but to hold him there. "Julian. Tell me to go, Liam. Tell me you want to finish this model and I'll walk out that door right now." Liam looked at the balsa wood model, the thing he had sacrificed sleep, sanity, and social life for. Then he looked at Julian. The choice wasn't even a choice anymore. "Don't go," Liam whispered. "The kiss." Julian didn't wait. He leaned in, closing the final inch. The kiss wasn't like the movies. It wasn't neat or perfect. It was desperate and clumsy at first, a collision of two people who had spent 3 years pretending they didn't want this. Julian's lips were firm and tasted like the cold rain and the sweetness of the latte. Liam let out a small, broken sound into Julian's mouth, his hands migrating from Julian's wrist to the lapels of his coat, pulling him closer until there was no air left between them. The stool Liam was sitting on creaked as Julian shifted, his hands sliding down to Liam's waist, gripping him with a possessiveness that made Liam's head spin. The world outside, the deadline, the rain, the blueprints ceased to exist. There was only the heat of Julian's breath, the scratch of his slight stubble, and the way he hummed low in his throat when Liam tilted his head back to give him better access. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathless. Liam's glasses were crooked and Julian's pristine coat was wrinkled. Julian leaned his forehead against Liam, their breaths mingling in the quiet room. "The model," Liam panted, glancing at the table. Julian let out a short, breathless laugh and kissed the tip of Liam's nose. "Forget the model, I have a car, an umbrella, and a very warm apartment 2 blocks away. Finish it tomorrow." "It's due in 8 hours, Liam reminded him, though he was already reaching for his bag. "Then we have 7 hours to do something much more interesting than architecture," Julian smiled, taking Liam's hand and interlacing their fingers. As they walked out and the studio lights clicked off, the rain was still falling, but for the first time in years, Liam wasn't feeling the chill.